Hello, Anna Louise here from Team Operation Sparkle. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Sparkle with the One-to-One Diet. Today I'm going to be showing you how I cook a nutritious meal for step 2, 200 calories of chicken with tender stem broccoli. It's very simple, very easy and very quick to prepare. So I'm going to take you through step by step how I'd make the whole meal. So first of all, we're going to start off, because we've got chicken, we're going to start off with our vegetables first. So that just means you don't have to do as much washing up. For this, you'll also literally just need salt, pepper, a bit of neutral fry light. I like to use the sunflower oil one, a knife just to trim up your broccoli, and some silicone tongs. And then we're also going to use a large frying pan here, but you can use a small one if you like. So what we're going to do first is our broccoli. So we are going to look for 80 grams of tender stem broccoli. This is to fulfill your calorie allowance for your vegetables. So what I've done is I've taken the tender stem broccoli, and if you can see here, I've just simply sliced it. So actually, it looks like you've got quite a lot instead of just 3 different tender stem broccoli stalks. So we've just made sure that those are the correct weight, and we're just going to pop those to the side for the moment. Then we're going to get a small plate to weigh out our chicken. Now, if you don't like touching chicken, these come in handy. So we've got here some mini fillets. I found those are much easier to portion, especially when you're trying to cook, to very specific weights, instead of getting a large chicken breast and it not being the right weight or size. So if we get these chicken fillets here, we're just going to place them and weigh out roughly 180 grams. Just going to lay them out flat. That is almost there. So that's an example of when you don't have enough. Perfect. So that is just about the right amount. So what I'm going to do is just trim off a little bit off the top here, and we'll save that for later. Pop that back on, just double check. That is exactly what we need. So what we're going to do now that it's all laid out on the plate is we're just going to season it with some salt and pepper. Just a few turns. And then we're going to turn on our hob. I would recommend putting it on a medium to a high heat. The comments that I've had before that it looks really caramelized and golden is that by having it on a higher heat, you're cooking it faster, and therefore all of the salt and pepper sort of caramelizes on the top. So you don't actually need to cook it for that long at all. What we're going to do is a few sprays of this fry light. So I've just done 4 sprays there. Just let that dissolve a little bit and just sort of go clearer, and that means the heat's getting to it. And then all we're going to do, just to make it quick and simple, is we're just going to turn this over, and it's just going to fall onto the saucepan, like the frying pan, like that, and you'll start to hear it sizzle. Now by putting it on a high heat, just make sure it doesn't stick. That's what the fry light's going to help with. And then we're just going to keep it there, not touch it, for a few minutes. What we're going to do, because it's on the reverse side, we're then going to season the other side. So by laying it down flat with that plate, it's put the seasoned side down first. And so just going to season that nicely. We don't need to do any more fry lights, so we can just put all of this to the side. And then meanwhile, if you just put on some boiling water for your broccoli, that should take 3 to 4 minutes. Because you've sliced it up so thin, it won't take very long to cook at all. So we've just been leaving that chicken there to cook just for a few minutes. I would say maybe 3 minutes. And as you can see here, the outsides of it have gone white. So that just means that it's cooking through. So now we're just going to turn it. And by leaving it on, you'll see that we've got a nice golden colour on the back. So we're just going to rotate all of that chicken, because we don't want it to start burning. However, if you do like a char, then that's really nice as well. You could also use a griddle pan as well, which will add a bit more charry flavour as well. It's a bit smokier that way. And we're not going to use any other seasonings, but you could use some smoked paprika or some of the other spice flavourings like fajita or something. Just be careful to measure those as you serve them as well, because they can be deceivingly high in carbs. So we're just going to, again, just leave that on there to do its thing. We've got our water boiling, and what we're going to do is we're going to season our water with some salt. I would say season it quite heavily, because it adds a really nice flavour to the broccoli. Just stir that through. And then once that's come to the boil, what we're going to do is we're going to place our broccoli in the water. Just going to use these just to make them fit. They're very long. In the water. And those should only take about 3 to 4 minutes as well. If you're not sure, just pick one up and just press your nail into it and it should go through quite easily. So once those are starting to brown off on the other side, you can see we've got a nice golden colour on the other side as well. Now with the mini fillets, because they're smaller, they also don't take as long to cook as well. Otherwise, if you did have a breast of chicken, what I would recommend is butterflying it by cutting it lengthways in half, fanning it out so it's double the surface area, and then by beating it down with, say, a rolling pin, it will make it that much thinner, and then you can basically cook it in half the time as well. So if you're in a rush, that's really helpful as well. So we can see that those are starting to cook very nicely now. Those are almost done. Now the thing with chicken is people get very like over the top conscious that it's going to be raw. So with this, you need to remember that because you're cooking it on such a high heat, there's going to be residual heat that once you've finished, leave them on a plate to cool down, and that residual heat will retain the moisture inside the chicken, making it really juicy and delicious, and it won't be raw, basically. So ensure that you cook everything, obviously, and if you're not sure, just put a little knife inside and just double check, but it shouldn't take more than, say, 7 or 8 minutes to do the whole of the chicken. Now we're just going to get a plate out so we can start serving up. Just going to put it on a big plate like this, but if you think psychologically it would work better to serve on a plate this size, that's completely your choice. So there are larger pieces here and smaller pieces, so I know that these smaller pieces will be done. That's perfect. I would say that side needs a little longer. And as you can see, we've now got a little bit of a char on one side, which is really nice, and it will just add a bit of extra flavour. Just tap, just press it. If it feels firm, it's pretty damn sure it's done. So we're just going to leave that on the plate, turn this off, and you'll see it will be a bit of smoke, but maybe put the extract fan on just in case. And we've just got our broccoli onto there. So we're just going to wait for that for a few minutes. We're going to, whilst the chicken's resting, we're just going to season it once more. A bit of salt and a bit of pepper. And then once the broccoli's done, we'll pop it here. So we've just left our broccoli there on boil. That's been on boiling for about 4 minutes. Now I'm just going to double check to see that it's cooked. So we're going to get one of the slightly thicker pieces. So I've got this one, and we're just going to push our nail through there. And as you can see, that sort of goes through there. So I would say, unless you want it really mushy, that's probably perfectly cooked. I'm just going to take it off the heat. And then because we've not overcooked it too much, we can just wash all this up. So I've just washed everything up. We've got our clean tongs, and we are going to just gently lift this out. Looks like quite a lot of broccoli, doesn't it? I'm just going to let it drip, and it will just steam for a second. And then we're just going to gently place it on the plate, because we eat with our eyes as well, so make it look plentiful and delicious. So, it's steamy. Just going to move it to the side. And there we have it. So just place everything out really nicely so that it looks inviting and warming to eat. And remember, food is fuel, it's not as a comfort. So think about how nutritious and delicious this is. Now just to finish off, I like a bit of salt on my broccoli. It really brings out the sweetness of it. It's really lovely. A little bit of pepper as well. And there is your step 2 meal. This is 200 calories and it's chicken and broccoli.